lights, voices shouting through the night. Static hum that shakes the ground, Rift Nation rising loud, profound. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Steel strings scream the truth we bring, echoed chaos, hearts that sting. Electric veins that feed the roar, harder, faster, crave for more. Dust and sparks ignite the air, shattered silence, do we dare? Tidal force, relentless stream, we're the edge, we're the dream. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Rift Nation, hold the line. In the chaos, we align. Through the storm, through the pain, we're the anthem in your veins. Feel the fire, feel the fight, we're the shadows in the night. Crashing waves, we take the stage, unleash the fury, turn the page. Rift Nation, hold the line. In the chaos, we align. Through the storm, through the pain, we're the anthem in your veins.
The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC. Go. Guidance. Go. Fido. Go. Prop.
Go.
GNC. Go. Max.
Go.
Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects. Triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma.
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. How are you guys? Oh, did you? I hit the button a little early. Whoops. And please do. I was messing around with Ryan's music earlier before the show came on. I'm like, oh, I love this music. So don't tell Ryan that I borrowed the music. He wouldn't care anyway. He's too nice. But Ryan is on he was on last night actually with Rhonda at 9 p.m. The freaking paranormal show, and it's a great show. So Ryan won't care, and Rhonda won't care. They're nice, so they're on was Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights at 9. So join them. Keith Otter's Den Monday. I'm on every other Monday with Keith Otter's Den, and then we've got Ryan and Rhonda, and then Wednesday for me. Oh, Dust. We've got Cindy. Cindy's on after Keith's show, so it's crazy. And then of course Sunday, Howie and Rhonda. We've got a big lineup with Rift Nation Network, so I'm glad you're joining us. We are streaming live tonight on the Rift Nation Network on Facebook, YouTube, and podcasting out there in podcast land on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and iHeart Podcasting. So if you get a chance to listen to us during the day, that's great. If you're joining us live, please chime in on the chat. I watch the chat all the time. I love to get your comments and see how y'all are doing. How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? Let's go, chat. How's it going? My name is Joni Skinner. For those of you who've never seen the show before, this is Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, where I combine forensic astrology with true crime, where we solve mysteries, we map for search and rescue, and we look at cold cases, mysteries, homicides, anything true crime. So please join us where, the astrology holds all the mysteries. So I hope I told you about that. And hopefully you'll learn how to use forensic astrology. It's a great tool for true crime. Accuracy rate is outstanding. It's I don't know how it works, but it works. And it's outstanding. Yes, we find people. We do find people for families. So I hope y'all are doing well. What is up with the Guffrey case, y'all? I mean, that has more twists and turns. But I think the clarity will come after Mercury's in retrograde. When that stops, we're past the eclipses, we're past everything. I think the clarity will come with Miss Guthrie's case pretty soon. I don't, I keep looking at it and it breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. 84 years old. I hope they find her. How are you, chat? Hello, Miss Lois. Hello, Miss Lee. How's everybody this week? Is everybody having a good week? Miss Tammy says, how are you, Miss Lee, Miss Lois? Hi, everybody. I'm going to have to watch later. I'm behind on all that. Well, get out there. We love you. Don't worry. Love you too, hon. Get out there and feed the animals and water. We got to have the animals healthy. Thanks, Tam. I did hit the like button though. Oh, thanks, Tammy. And Miss Cindy, how are you? Oh, that's so sweet. And for those of you, Rift Nation Network, Cindy, all things energy on Monday nights. Tune in to check out Cindy. She's good for energy and vibrational energy now. We need it now this year, at least until August, when all the planets and the stars in the universe calms down a tad. By August, Cindy, you'll get a rest. You're not going to have people freaking out with their energy. And by August, I've been looking at it. I've been looking at 2026. And for those of you, I do forensic astrology here. So it's basically, we cover true crime. I talk about astrology a little bit, like normal astrology. And 2026 it really is biblical. I don't know what other word to use besides biblical. I'll have to look up another word, but we just went through a transit from 8,000 years ago. And now we're getting ready to go back into one from 1504. That's a little bit closer in time, 1504. So we are, and what's happening with the astrology this year, don't think you're going crazy. We are having back to back occurrences up in the skies. So you're not going crazy. It's transformation, it's change. It's the dawn of a new day. I think by the end of this year, and I think I say this every year, but this year I mean it. We're going to look back on 2026 and go, do you remember when we used to do that? We don't do that anymore because technology is going to take off. We're going to have a different financial system. Let me try to think what I think I see. I mean, I'm really kind of guessing. New technology. I think I'm not a big, I believe in UFOs. I think they're out there. I've never seen a UFO. I don't know if there's little aliens. I don't know. I think there's other life out there, but I'm still kind of a skeptic. So I think I'm going to be proven wrong this year with that. What else? Lots of medical technology, lots of medical things that we never thought in a million years would happen. A whole new level of consciousness is coming in too, spiritually. What else? I think that's about it. I think that's enough. Oh, duh, if we already haven't seen it, a lot of collapsing governments. A lot of, we are going to have friends that we thought were our friends in the world are not our friends. And this is countries. And countries that we thought were nice are not so nice. We're going to change. That's going to change completely around. What else? We're going to see a lot of collapsing leaders. And clarity. Clarity. That's what I see. So, and if you're, and then I'll just go ahead and let y'all know, if you're interested in astrology and want regular astrology, please go to Facebook. I have a private page, Astrology, the series, and ask to join our group. We have a great group. We're going to do a mini session in March on the energy. So please join our astrology group. I'd love to have you. We have a great time. It's a learning experience, how to learn astrology. So that's Miss Cindy, Chuckles for Life. I love that name, Chuckles for Life. That's really cute. How are you, dear? How's it going? How's it going? Chuckles. That's so cute. I love Chuckle. I love laughing. Y'all know that, when you're down, I say this all the time, laughter brings up your energy vibration higher than anything. You want to get your energy level up, look at funny videos and stuff. Music too. Well, and other things too. Hello, Miss Denise. How are you? How are our friends in Canada? How's Canada weather? Is it cold up there, Canada? Because it's warmer here. It's going to be 70 here this weekend, Canada. I'll send you up some warm weather. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you, my dear? Don't forget to hit the share button for friends. Hello, Miss Renee. Thank you for sharing out. Oh, Tibetan bowls. Haha, that's good. I might use Tibetan bowls on Monday. I would order a ton more bowls for 2026. I would fill up the room with bowls. You're going to need a symphony of bowls to get through 2026. You're going to need a ton more bowls. Uranus going to Gemini. I wonder about it in my first house. Oh, okay. Okay, Uranus is the planet of breakthroughs. It is the planet of the unexpected. Uranus likes to sucker punch. Okay, Uranus likes shocking, likes surprises. If you have problems with getting through things, Uranus is the one that just knocks down walls. So Uranus has been in Taurus for the past 7.5 years or so. It's getting ready to go into Gemini. So what's going to change? What's this energy shift? In Taurus, Uranus has been held back. It's been calmer. Okay, so when Uranus goes into Gemini, let's say into your first house is your ascendant, which is your physical body, your personality. It's more, the mind will increase. The mind will go 100 miles an hour in Gemini. Writing, maybe, Cindy. So Gemini's a writer, creativity, talker, talk more. So it's a good place. You might do something different physically. I like it, Gemini in the first house with Uranus. I like that. Lots of communication. You know, things with the podcast, things with the bowls and how you present, things like that. Gemini, or Uranus is social media. It's electronics. It'll be exciting changes. It'll be very, very, very positive. Very, very positive, Miss Cindy. I don't know where it's going in my chart to be. Oh, it's going to my third house. Doing good. That's my Australian Shepherd's name, Chuckles. Oh, I love that name. We love our animals. There you go. Getting into light language and opening throat chakra. There you go. That would be. See, Taurus is the throat chakra. Gemini'd have to be something in the mind. I don't know. Mercury's the ruler. That'll be good for you. Well, I hope y'all are doing well. We are True Crime Wednesday. Boy, this is a case, y'all. I don't know if anybody followed this particular case with, let's get started on the case. This particular case, and let me introduce you guys to them. If you don't know, the perp was sentenced this week. That's why, I looked it up. I kept seeing it pop up and I thought, what is this case? I had never heard of it. Then I dug into it and I got really, really interested because it's a little bit different than what we have looked at previously. We have 2 victims, but guess what? One victim was unalived and the other victim lived. However, passed on, like 2 years later. So I'll get into that. So that's a different thing to look at in the event chart or the crime chart. So here's a little bit of background story, because this is a pretty, working, when I first got out of school and started working in a law firm, I always thought, after seeing a couple cases, that death brings out the worst in families when it comes to just fighting. If you want to see the worst in people, that's when you see it. It's mind-boggling what you see, fighting, and it's just crazy. And this case kind of reminded me of that. But let me give you a little background. Now, this is Robert Spohr and his wife, Wendy. They had been married for 50 years. And on June 5th, 2021, they spent the day boating with their daughter and grandkids at their Lake Tahoe home. Okay, so I'm going to make this bigger for y'all to see it better. There we go. So they lived in Lake Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, California. Lake Tahoe. What a beautiful home. Multi-million-dollar home where they retired, lived right on the lake, and they had spent the day boating with their daughter, Erin, and their grandkids. And look at that home. Isn't that beautiful? Well, they had 2 daughters. They had a daughter, Erin, who was married to a Major League Baseball player who we'll get a little bit into. His name was Dan Serafini. Okay. Now he was not playing baseball in 2021 when years ago he was playing baseball for the major leagues, right? So Aaron was married to Dan Serafini. Okay. And there was another daughter named Adrian. So they had the family had 2 kids. They lived in Lake Tahoe in a multi-million-dollar home. Aaron was married to a former Major League Baseball player and another lovely daughter. So on that evening on June 5th, 2021, Aaron and her children left to go home to Reno, Nevada, where they lived. It's not that far of a distance. So about an hour later, an intruder entered the home and shot both Robert and Wendy in the head. Robert unalived immediately. Wendy regained consciousness. She had been pow-powed twice in the head, regained consciousness, okay, and called 911. She could not speak, but they got to her and airlifted her. So she lived. And what happened is an investigation was underway. She had a horrific recovery. And there's a picture of them. That's Aaron and Dan. And there are Wendy and Robert. And there's Aaron and Dan and their children. He's so handsome, too. And here's Adrian, their other daughter. Now, they did an investigation. There was no forced entry into the home. And this is all they had to go by. A video with this guy. Now, this is 2021. This is who they saw exiting the home. You know, hood up, backpack, walking along the lake. That's it. That's all they had. No weapon, no nothing. And Wendy could not remember what had happened. Now, Wendy unfortunately went through a horrific recovery. She had to learn to walk again. She had to learn to eat again, everything. And she had been married to Robert for 50 years and really never got over this trauma. And she, in 2023, unalived herself in an assisted living facility, right? So that was in 2023. By now, the case has gone cold, okay? Oh, I got ahead of myself. So by now, the case has gone cold. Well, what happened is, I've never heard this happen. Check this out. So in 2023, let me get my notes. Okay, in June of 2023, on the second anniversary of the incident, Adrian files a wrongful death civil suit against the Serafinis. Uh-oh, what's going on? So Aaron files a wrongful death, right? Civil suit, nothing criminal. So what happened is, then the police, they got a warrant, right? And they took Aaron's phone and Serafini's phones, right? Well, what had happened is there was a nanny in the Serafini household. She went on vacations with the family, and she was a nanny. There she is. Samantha Scott was a nanny. Samantha, everybody else's phones were okay. Samantha Scott's phone was not. Samantha Scott, her phone showed up in the area of the home on the night of the incident. So with police work, etc., in October of 2023, guess who gets arrested? Yep, Dan. Okay. Well, Samantha Scott and Dan were having an affair. So the nanny and this piece of work were having an affair. And so there's what had happened is there was a trial. Okay, here we go. Here's the trial. And in the trial, we find out that Aaron's family was worth about, the estimates are between 10 and $23 million. So apparently, it's alleged, but now he was found guilty by a jury and was sentenced this last week. And so Samantha, the nanny, turned on him. And she had said that he wanted her to go to Tahoe with him and they were going to buy some drugs. So she went. She apparently didn't know. He came back to the car and he eventually confessed to her what he had done. So she turned on him and gave testimony against him, right? So he was found guilty. And what happened is Aaron got on the stand, his wife, and said they had always had an open marriage. And to this day, Aaron has stuck by him. Aaron has stuck by him, right? What had happened is, and also come to find out, when she was alive, Wendy had taken Aaron out of the will. Now, this family, this couple, Robert and Wendy, gave Aaron and Dan that evening when she left, when they went boating, she had a $90,000 check with her. They had given Dan a $70,000 check for a car he wanted. They purchased their $1 million home. They literally paid their bills and, private clubs, everything. So they were living off her family, and he did that. So needless to say, the judge gave him life in prison with no possibility of parole. So that's kind of the short story, and you can get their story on. There's a lot of YouTubes on it. It's quite an interesting story, and I thought, it's just what happens to families with money. Now, when we look at Dan's life, he never really made it as a Major League Baseball player, although he made about $3 million total in the as a Major League Baseball player. He even played for the Reds at one time. He bought a bar, didn't work out. So he had businesses that really didn't seem to fly. So that's the story. That's their story. Can you imagine that you had in-laws that bought you $1 million house, right? And you get a $90,000 check. I'm going to be like, I love you so much. Thank you. Can we go shopping? I mean, who wouldn't be so grateful? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So the charts are very, this is going to blow your mind, you guys, because it really, what's funny is every week we look at event charts and crime charts, and every week I think I say it every week, this blew me away, because every week, guess what? That blows me away. I don't know where the rest of my notes are on this. Well, I'll just fudge it. I took better notes, but okay, there he is crying. Yeah, enjoy your time, creep. I shouldn't say that. Okay, this is the chart, y'all. Let me get the right chart. Look, when you look at a case, you always get like a ton of charts. Okay, this is the attack chart. This is on the night of June the 5th, 2021 at around 8:45 p.m. when he, the attack occurred. So at the top of the chart, I have Gary and Wendy's attack chart, correct? As normal, look at the green arrows, right? This is what immediately when I looked at this chart, because I had already known this was basically done because of inheritance, correct? Look where Pluto is in the second house. What's inheritance? That's the 8th house. Mars, the violence, right? So Pluto and Mars, right? I mean, it just right immediately pops out right at you. This was money. You've got the 2 money houses, 2 malefics in the money houses, right? But let's take a look at the victims who are always in the ascendant, which is it's Sagittarius, which that ruler is Jupiter. So look at the green arrow in the house that's numbered 4. That's our victims. Okay? So our victims are in the 4th house at home. We knew they were at home, right? There they are. The co-ruler is always the moon. There they are again. Green arrow in the 5th house. I couldn't really figure children, the house of children. Okay, so we have the children involved with this. So there's our victims, and we're going to look at our perp. The perp is in the 7th house. Gemini is there. Gemini's a duality sign, 2 people. So we had Scott and dear old Dan. Remember, he had an accomplice. So we had Gemini as the perp, and Mercury is represented, and there he is. There he is up in the 7th house, right? Let me find my notes. Talk amongst yourselves while I find my other notes. I got to find them. I'll find them. Well, I'll keep talking and looking at the same time. I can multitask. So we're going to look at what was, let me see. I can do this without looking at my notes, but there were some interesting things in my notes. Okay, here we go. My bad. Sorry about that, y'all. So we went through that. And remember, the 2nd house is always, according to Kirsty McIntosh's book, which is she's a great forensic astrologist, which is what I use. The color green is always associated with the 2nd house, right? Money. So what else do we got here? You know what's funny? The house is in Pisces, and the home was right on the water. So even the 4th house, even this chart is telling us this home where they lived in Pisces it's in the water. It's on the water, Lake Tahoe. It's crazy, freaking crazy. So let's take a look at the 6th house. So we already know the purpose. Oh yeah, Cindy, that's a great question. Yeah, that's what the 8th house is, the house of the unaliving, basically. That gives us a clue on the unaliving. It also is inheritance, other people's money. So absolutely, because we always look to Pluto, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus for kind of what happened. Those are what you can kind of almost call malefics, although I don't like that term, but they are. So we know that the unaliving occurred. Just looking at this, let's say we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. So I would look at this chart and say, okay, the 8th house was the violence, and the pow, the what got him is represented by Mars, and that's connected to Pluto, as you can see the green line for money. Pluto would be their unaliving, or the injuries, what happened to them over money. So we have two big triggers of money in the 2nd and the 8th houses. And they were at home, at their lakefront home. Children are involved. And then let's take a look at the purple arrow, right? The 6th house. What is the 6th house in a chart? It's health, it's routine. Well, Uranus, disruptive, shocking, attack, chaos happened, that's how I would interpret that. Right? So what else is in here? Let me see about my notes. Okay. Now, in the 7th house, right? Here's another good clue. In the 7th house, he is represented by Mercury because Gemini is the 7th house, and Mercury rules Gemini, right? If Mercury is the perp, which he is in the 7th house, it represents a younger man. He is a younger man, right? He was a younger man. So we've got that. So I think that's about that. So that's basically the attack chart. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper, right? Because we know we have two victims. One lived and one did not in this case. Okay. So so I looked at her charts. Okay. Because I looked at, I got her birth date, but I didn't get a time of birth. So I used noon. So it could be off a little bit. So we have her, the attack chart on her. Now I used her natal chart. The event chart that we just looked at is the event that occurred. I wanted to see what was going on in her natal chart that she lived and he did not. I just jump in rabbit holes. So to the left, I wanted to look and see, and I say this all the time, you all got to be sick of me saying it. In a natal chart, everyone, I look at the north and south node, which are the lunar nodes. The north node is destiny. The south node is past lives, and karma are triggered when a person transitions. Every time. Does it? It's every time. So what did Wendy have going on that she lived through this? Look at that pink line up there. So we have Venus. We're going to look at the favorable planets. Venus, Jupiter, the moon. What was going on in her chart? Chiron, Mercury, Venus was trining. Okay, Venus was trining Mars. Very favorable. That's that pink line, right? Uranus, which would have been the accident, right? Was trining Chiron, which is really, it can be the physical body in a chart. So she had the attack happened, but her natal chart had very favorable things going on in it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's her on the day of the attack, right? So I wanted to look at the day that she unalived herself following the accident. It's a whole different story. So that was on March 9th, 2023. She unalived herself. I wanted to look at the north and south node. Well, what's interesting about this chart is we know her health wasn't great. So look at the stress in her 6th house. She's got Neptune, the Sun, Mercury, Saturn. Saturn had just moved into her 6th house of health. Restrictions. I mean, that's a heavy load. Depression. It can cause depression like that. Pluto in the 5th house is sitting at 29 degrees in Capricorn. So all of this stuff was going on her natal chart at the time she unalived herself. But the big one, transit Uranus, see the purple arrow. I'm sorry, I marked this up so bad. The purple arrow up at the 8th house, house of unaliving, is squaring, right? It's squaring her natal north node. On the opposite side, it's squaring her natal south node. So it was like the soul said, this is too much stress. I'm checking out. And that's basically what happened, I imagine. So there was a lot. And another thing, the moon was sitting on her. And we want to look at somebody's body. We look at their rising sign. The ascendant is the physical body. The moon was around her rising sign at that time. What else? Uranus was square the nodes. Uranus was conjunct her natal Jupiter, which expanded everything. So everything just expanded at that time. Neptune was opposite Neptune, which is cloudy, disillusion. Neptune was, there's just a lot went on in this chart. The biggest thing is the fact that Uranus in the 8th is unaliving. Pluto in the 12th, Uranus in the 8th is unaliving oneself. And that's why I always hesitate with the whole Epstein thing, because it's not an Epstein's chart. And every unaliving situation, everyone I've seen is usually Uranus or Pluto are in the 8th or 12th. And that's from the rulership book. So I thought that was very interesting to dig into her natal chart, just to look at why did she live through it and he did not, right? I'm going to show you. Here is his natal chart, okay? Now, here we go again, because we're going to look at this chart on the day of that day, okay? We have the green line, Uranus, shocking, chaos, unexpected, is squaring Pluto. The sun and the north node, transit north node, are hitting his ascendant. Normally, that's not too bad. But if the sun is hitting the north node, that means the south node is over there. Let's see. So the nodes are getting triggered, right? Pluto is conjunct the moon. Saturn is conjunct his natal sun. Transit Mars is opposite transit Pluto. That's a nasty transit, right? Uranus squares his natal Pluto. His ascendant is opposing his south node, the transit south node. So his rising sign is opposing the transiting south node. Pluto is squaring Neptune. Transit Saturn is opposing his natal Pluto. Mars is squaring Neptune. Mars is opposing the moon. I mean, this chart, it says it all. So we looked at her chart. She didn't have all this going on, right? Where he did. So there's our story, y'all. I mean, so when you dissect it pretty much and you jump in the rabbit hole, and the reason I actually wanted to look at their birth charts with this is because of the fact I wanted to see the situation of why she lived through this attack and he did not. It's all there. It's all there, isn't it? It is so it's very sad, isn't it, Lee? It's very sad. I think. Hi, Kath. Kath made it. I wonder if she was okay. This is the situation. She changed her will and took Aaron out of it. She claimed that she could not remember it. And then there's some, and you just, on these stories, we don't know what to believe and what not to believe. But apparently she did have a recollection that it was him. But that's kind of not in, so that came out too, but I don't know if that's true. Some of, but why would she take her other daughter out of the will? The mother and father had spent $2 million on that couple. I mean, come on, that's crazy. They gave them everything. So money isn't everything, but greed, and it's crazy, absolutely crazy. At his trial last week, Aaron wrote a letter asking the judge to give him a lighter sentence. And they divorced, right? They divorced him right before his trial. She divorced him, right? So now the other sister is filing papers saying he was supposed to pay restitution, and they had $1 million home, and half of that home he could have paid restitution out of. And Adrian is saying, no, they got divorced, so that would save, the home where he would not have to pay restitution. So even through all of this and going through court and being convicted, there's still the scamming seems to apparently still going on. But she wrote a letter. She stuck by him. So I think it's very sad story. So I imagine the estate probably still being held up. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure about California law and how their estates are held up. Isn't that crazy, you guys? Now, watch this. Look at this. So I didn't have an address on either one. So I mapped it from the event, the attack. They lived in Reno, as you can see, it's where it says Reno. Duh. Sure enough, I cannot make this up because I didn't even have addresses for them. But sure enough, the pink circle is the mileage from the Ascendant and the IC. They add up. Look at that mileage. Look at that line that took us. Guess what? Look where the line told us to go look. To Reno, where he lived. So let's say I would have mapped this and not known who the perp was. I would have gone, well, look at that. That's weird. Right to Reno. But I don't know where their actual home is. And I felt I didn't want to kind of creep. If it's in the papers and stuff or AI has it, I figure it's public, but I don't dig. So there we go. There's our mapping. There we go. Right to Reno. So the mapping was correct. The chart was correct. Once again, it's like, jeez. Like I said, every week I say it amazes me. But it really does amaze me. Yeah, I think she was, but apparently, she had been married to him for 50 years, and it was just, the trauma was just apparently too much, Cindy. And she was in an assisted living facility with a very difficult 2 years of recovery. She had to learn to do everything over again. And when you're older, let's face it, when you're older, it's hard enough to get out of bed just being normal. When you're older, everything hurts. I mean, when it rains here, I'm like, oh, where's the stuff to put on my knee or my back or why is my shoulder hurt? Because when you get older, you just don't hop out of bed anymore. It's so God love her having to start all over again, and he's gone. It's just Aaron's just as evil. How do you stand by someone that I don't get it. I just don't get it. Denial. Apparently she and her, from the court information, she and her parents had a tumultuous relationship. And she claimed that she was always in and out of the will and the mother, and they dictated everything that they did. And well, then don't take any money from them. If you don't want them to dictate anything, dear Aaron, don't take any money, because you're acting like I hate to say that, that's a little entitled brat. We're all going, what? How? I can't imagine somebody handing me a $90,000 check going, here you go. Here's $70,000, go buy a car. What? I would die. She divorced him to keep the money. It's just evil. Yeah. That's what her sister is claiming. It's in court right now. So I'll keep an eye on it. But he did get, and that was in her letter to the judge, her impact statement. I think it's so very sad to do that to your parents when all they had to do is walk away. They've been given $2 million and $1 million home. Be grateful for that. And you don't want them dictating what you do. Just then, why are you taking the money? Money always has attachments with it. You know what? I'm going to find out, because I'll look at her mother's chart. I hate to do that. That's like spying on somebody. Let's look and see what Wendy was. Let's look at Wendy's natal. Well, you know what? Look at that. We have a stellium. Wendy had a stellium in her natal chart. She was a Cancer sun, Venus in Cancer, Uranus in Cancer. She was a rising Libra. Where's the moon? Moon in Sagittarius. So a Sagittarius, it just kind of rolls out off their tongue. But all that stellium in Cancer is not trying to tell somebody to do. It's out of love. Is how what happens is they can smother. So she was smothering, but in a loving way. They mean well. And they could be kind of moody with all that. Mercury in Leo, she said what she felt. It came right out. It came right out. He was an Aquarius. He had a Pisces stellium, so I don't know. It's interesting. Very interesting, isn't it? That's a case, isn't it, girls and boys? That's a case, isn't it? I wanted to show y'all something too, to be very, very careful. Look at this. We have another victim. Remember our little girl from Ukraine on the train, Lake and Riley, Rachel Morin. We just had a gal that was stabbed last week. 30 prior arrests. Look at what just came out. Well. The police department in Fairfax County sent the DA on November 15th an email talking about, I wanted to bring his release this week to your attention. One of the repeat and violent felony offenders expressed He has an extensive criminal history, stabbed multiple people, assaulted at least one woman, and committed numerous other criminal offenses. Furthermore, the behavior appears to be escalating. This was the police department letting the prosecutor know. Why I wanted to get your background on why he is out again so soon, and ask if his prior suspended sentence of, I believe, 5 years was pursued by your office. Now, let me tell you something, y'all. And the biggest thing you need to do, all of us, because we have elections coming up this year in November, check and double check the biggest, most important election you will have to vote on in your state is for the Attorney General. You don't want this to be on your streets. And the one that just got elected in Virginia is a releaser. He is a releaser. They release people. This woman was sitting at a bus stop. This guy had they had detainers on him. They had deportation letters on him, everything. And they had him in custody, and ICE was never notified that they had him, and they let him out on the street, and look what happened. 30 prior arrests, and the Fairfax Police Department warned him 3 times. 3 times. So the police know who these people are. And now we have somebody that was waiting for a bus is gone. So just make sure that when you vote, you look at their record. That's all you got to do. The AG will be the most important vote that you cast. Do not vote for somebody that allows this to happen in your state, because you're not safe. You know, all of the crimes that we see and cases that we see, it happens by a small percentage of the population. Many are repeat offenders and should never be out. I think states should be held liable for this kind of stuff. I think the family should be able to go in and sue. And that's what they're looking at now in the House, because of like Rachel Morin and Laken Riley and all of this stuff, that if these sanctuary DAs release people, they will, that jurisdiction will be held liable for that person's death, and let them start paying out millions and millions of dollars awards, and we'll watch them lock people up real quick. So I'm thrilled. I hope this goes through, and I'll call my congressperson to make sure it does, because we need a federal law that has got to stop. So just make sure you just get on the internet and check out, look at their record, see if they were prior DAs, look and see what they did. If they were a judge, look and see what that was. Check them out. Ask AI. So just be careful. If you vote for anybody this year, that's the one you need to be careful of. Because we got another one. I'm going to do, I know it, Linda. I know you see something like this. I bet it just, you want to hit the roof. You know, a family should be liable. A family should be able to sue whoever allowed this to happen. All families are angel families. It's heartbreaking. So I wanted to let you guys know, and even if maybe around, you know what I might do around election time, I'll do deep dives on them. I'll find out, because certain times, you know, certain states have different. For our Canada friends, it might be an election time, but all states like are not picking a governor this year, or all, you know, everybody has different elections. It's on the same day, but we all might be doing different state elections. So we don't have, like, the Attorney General is a state office. So I just think I'm glad that people are releasing these emails and letting people be aware of what goes on behind the scenes. I'm thrilled with that. People need to know. So that's just another case. It's just heartbreaking. Well, you guys, isn't that an odd case? But he's going to jail for life. So they look at that home. Beautiful home. So you guys, any thoughts on this case? I mean, I know it's sad. And does anybody have any thoughts or any info you want to share with us? I hope everybody's weather is getting warmer. We're having storms now. So yeah, divorce seems to keep the money. Money is very important to people. It makes them evil. Makes them do evil things. I mean, look at this couple. It's just very sad, isn't it? But that is our story. We'll keep up on, I think that's the only true crime updates this week. The Guthrie case. Some weird stuff is coming out on the Guthrie case, and I don't know if it's just from conspiracy people or what's going on with it. Like I said, I think when Mercury goes back out of retrograde, we'll get an update on that. Well, listen, y'all have a great week. Be safe. Stay warm if it's cold in your area. Stay dry if it's raining. And enjoy it. I hope it gets warm. It's going to be warm here this weekend. We all need a little bit of sunshine, don't we? But have a great week. We'll have another case next week. And have a great rest of the week. We're at Hump Day. But thanks so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys next week. Oh, it's drizzly there. Yeah, it's storming here. I think we're headed right into tornado season. Here we go. Well, y'all have a great week and have a good one. Have a good weekend too. Relax, enjoy it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.